Good morning, students. Today we are going to study the last lesson, Alphonse Daudet, written by Alphonse Daudet. The last lesson is already explaining story about French writer Alphonse Daudet. Alphonse Daudet is giving you information about the history of the Prussian फ्रांस वार मीन्स प्रशियन एंड द फ्रांस वार के बारे में छोटा सा एक डिस्क्रिप्शन आपके सामने प्रस्तुत करने के लिए अल्फोंस डॉट ने प्रयास करते हैं। आप लोग सुन लीजिए। द लास्ट लेसन इज़ ए स्टोरी बाय फ्रेंच राइटर अल्फोंस डॉट। द narrator of the story is France. A little boy was late for the school that morning. France described the memorable final lesson given by his teacher M. Hamel, who was the teacher during the Franco-Prussian War in 1870-71. Prussian forces or German soldiers attacked the France under the leadership of Bismarck in the year of 1817. All the Germans stood by Prussian. The France was defeated. The French districts of the Alsace and Lorraine passed to the Prussian district hands. A new Prussian ruler disallowed to teaching of French in the school of these two districts, Alsace and Lorraine. The government ordered that French teachers in these schools were asked to leave from these two districts. This story describes the last days of one such a French teacher in the school. So, M. Hamel knows he has been transferred and will no longer remain this old school, but he gives his last lesson to his students with much devotion and sincerity as ever. This immense sadness, the class, because of the departure of their teacher M. Hamel, it shows something sincerity, proudly teaching in the class. This is the content of the lesson. आप लोगों को समझना चाहिए कि प्रशिया और जर्मन सेना ने बिस्मार्क के शासनकाल में 1870 में फ्रांस को हमला किया था। सभी जर्मनी वासियों ने प्रशिया के साथ दिया, उसके कारण फ्रांस पराजित हो गया है। फ्रांस का 2 स्टेट और 2 प्रोविंसेस अल्सास एंड लॉरेंस नामक 2 डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स प्रशिया का अधीन में आ गए। नए प्रशियन शासकों ने दोनों क्षेत्र का स्कूल के फ्रेंच लैंग्वेज पढ़ाने वाले को निश्चित कर दिया है। इस प्रदेशों का स्कूल में फ्रेंच पढ़ाने वाला अध्यापकों को भी ट्रांसफ़र कर दिया है। इस कहानी में ही एक फ्रेंच अध्यापक एम हामल ने अपने स्कूल में अंतिम दिन का वर्णन किया गया है। अध्यापक ने अपने पुराने स्कूलों में ज़्यादा समय नहीं रहे थे, फिर उन्होंने अपना अंतिम पाठ उतनी लगा और श्रद्धा के साथ पढ़ाते थे, लगन और श्रद्धा के साथ पढ़ाते थे, जैसे वह सदा किया करता था। ये कहानी बहुत करुणा भरी कहानी है रूप में व्यक्त करती है तथा एम हामल नामक फ्रेंच अध्यापक की शांत और गरिमामय कर्मनिष्ठता की के बारे में इस कहानी में व्यक्त किया करता था. Here we can see the story. The school teacher who taught French language in the France districts. The districts had been captured by the Prussian army or German army. All the teaching of the French language was disallowed to the school of the districts. French teachers were asked to leave their school. The story describing the last lesson of one of such a teacher. The story is narrated by little student named Franz in his teacher's class. So, the little Franz was late in for the school that morning, and he was afraid that teacher would scold him. He was also afraid because of teacher was asking the grammar part of particles and he does not know any word from about it. Okay, so the little Franz thought that running away from spending the time out of the doors, he thinking that if he sitting in the class, it is better to running away from the school. And he saw a Prussian soldiers drilling in the open field and watching them some to the beer of more tempering than the rules of the particles. However, he hurried off to school. मीन्स ये स्कूल में बैठने से भी ज़्यादा सोल्जर्स को जो शूटिंग एंड एवरीथिंग देखना अच्छा लगता है. और पार्टिसिपल ग्रामर एरिया पार्टिसिपल आपको मालूम है इंग्लिश में पार्टिसिपल है, पास्ट पार्टिसिपल है, प्रेजेंट पार्टिसिपल है, दिस लाइक. ओके, अब पार्टिसिपल के बारे में उसको कोई जानकारी भी नहीं है, उधर बैठना अच्छा नहीं लगा, सोचा था. On this way, little Franz passed to the town hall. There saw a crowd in front of the bulletin, and during that time he was going away from the school. Then he saw a town hall. There is a big crowd, a group of people standing there without any order, and they are already seeing some notice from the notice board. Okay, when the little Franz reached the school, it was very quiet and very they were no one usually noises. Okay, we cannot say none of the noises there in the school as usual. It was a quiet Sunday morning, and all the classmates were already there in the seat, and teacher M. Hamel was walking up and down. He had a terrible iron ruler under his arm. When he reached the school, he saw a terrible situation or unusual situation. There was no noise. It was like a Sunday morning. Sunday morning school ground should be silent. Same way he has seen, and the same time almost all the students were there on seat, and the teacher was walking around the class, and he is already keeping the ruler under his arms. And then the little Franz opened the door and went in, and he was very frightened, but to surprise, M. Hamel said very kindly, "Go to your place quickly, little Franz." Then he surprised. Okay, every day he is coming in the class, sir will saying something, but today he lovingly, kindly said that go to your place quickly, little Franz. Then Franz saw the teacher was one of his best dress, and he wore only a inspection and prize day. When he is only distributing the prize or any other inspection day, he is already wearing the dress, that like a dress he was used, and he doesn't know what is the things. And all the back benches of the class villagers were sitting and quietly, and everybody looked sad, and Franz wondered what it was all about. what क्या हो रहे है इधर, ऐसे वो सोचने लग गया, क्योंकि लास्ट बेंच इज फिल्ड विथ द विलेज पीपल्स एंड दे आर सिटिंग साइलेंटली इन द क्लास. ऑल आर लुकिंग वेरी सैड इवन. Okay, M. Hamel began to the story, began to very grave and gentle tone, and Mr. M. My children, this is the last lesson I shall give you. In order has come from the Berlin and teaching only German in the school Alsace and Lawrence. This new master come tomorrow. This is the last lesson I wanted to teach you in a everybody wanted to be an attentive. Okay, the teacher telling that today is my last class because the Berlin from the German capital Berlin is also giving that order that all the school have to teach here German only. So you have to leave from here. Tomorrow you will I will leave from there. So tomorrow new teacher will come. Then you can attentive to so that students is already going that way. Then now the first time little Franz began to feel a sorry for not being a serious in his class, and he was also sad that would never see M. Hamel again. He forgot all about his rules and cracky nature. Okay, he is already very sad, and he is already having a M. Hamel having a mixed feeling because he is leaving from there. At the same time, he have to teach something properly, and so he is already felt a very pity condition. And now Franz understood why Miss M. Hamel was in his best cloth, and he also understood the old men of the village were sitting there, and they had come to show their respect for M. Hamel's 40 years of the faithful service. Then the boy should understand that why the Tsar is already used to wear that new and valuable cloth. At the same time, the village people are already gathered there because of they have to give the faithful, they have to give the respect and sincerity towards the teacher, those years, 40 years who faithfully service given there in the France. So the M. Hamel asked the Franz recitate the rule of the for the prior participle. Franz got up and upon the first word, but Miss M. Hamel did not scold him. He only used and he pretended that Frenchman, and yet he can neither speak nor write our own language. But you are not the worst, and little Franz, we have all great deal re-approach to ourselves with. Then he spoke details about the French language and said it was the best language in the world. He already talked about the French language. It is the best language in the world because it is an easy language too. M. Hamel opened the grammar book and gave the last lesson to the class. The little Franz was amazed to see that understood the very word of it, and M. Hamel explained everything in the great patience, and after the grammar, he gave the practice in writing. While the students were busy with their writing, M. Hamel gazed and everything in the little classroom, and he was also a wonder to fix everything in his mind. It must have broken his heart and think that he was to leave it all. इधर अभी लास्ट क्लास में सभी बच्चे अच्छे से ग्रामर अटेंड कराए, उसके साथ इन लोग अच्छे से रेस्पॉन्ड कराए. अभी राइटिंग वर्किंग प्रैक्टिस दिया है तो भी अच्छे से लिख रहे, फिर भी उसको लगता है कैसे भी हो तो भी उनका हार्ट में बहुत टेंशन आ गया. उसको ऐसे सोचने लग गया कैसे भी उधर से छोड़ के जाना है. ऑल एट वंस द चर्च क्लॉक स्ट्रक 12. The sound of the midday prayer were heard, and at the same moment, the trumpet of the Prussian returning from drill were heard, and Miss M. Hamel stood up, say and something. I couldn't. He was choked with emotions and took a piece of chalk and write in that blackboard as large as he could, long live France. Okay, when he was given the last class, that time the students is also attentive in the proper way. Then he has given the practice to writing something, they are also writing properly, but he has already thought that anyway now the people is already writing and learning something properly, even though he have to leave from there. So the M. Hamel is already thinking this way. Then church close struck 12, तब 12 o'clock का बेल बजाने लग गया, मिड डे प्रेयर चार्ट हो गया, और द सेम टाइम द प्रशियन सोल्जर्स का ट्रम्पेट, द क्या बोलते हैं उसको, नर्सिंग और ऐसे बजने लग गया था, उसको ट्रम्पेट बजने लग गया, उसके साथ ही इज़ ऑल्सो स्ट्रक्ड, ही इज़ ऑल्सो फिल्ड विथ इमोशन, हिज हार्ट में बहुत इमोशन से भरा हुआ था. एंड देन ही इज़ ऑलरेडी टेकन ए चॉक पीस एंड राइट इन द बोर्ड as large as he could, इतना बड़ा से लिख सकता है, लॉन्ग लीव फ्रांस, फ्रांस तुम आप जिए रहो लंबा से, और आगे अच्छे से ले, बेस्ट विशेस लिख के विवा डी फ्रांस ऐसे लिख के इसने चला गया है. दिस इज़ द स्टोरी. इधर स्टोरी इज़ ऑलरेडी टेलिंग दैट जो जहाँ हम काम कर रहे उधर हमारा मातृभाषा में पढ़ने का और मातृभाषा पढ़ने का कुछ अधिकार भी है, हमारा सत्ता है. उसी प्रकार जो जर्मन एरिया, जर्मनी में जर्मन यूनिफिकेशन बारे में आप लोग सब पढ़ा होगा. जर्मन यूनिफिकेशन में 10वीं में पढ़ा है, और आज यूनिफिकेशन के टाइम पर बिस्मार्क ने सब कुछ एकत्र किया. उसी प्रकार फ्रांस का भी थोड़ा दो एरिया अल्सास एंड लॉरेंस अपने कब्जे में रखा. उसी प्रकार उधर लैंग्वेज जर्मन लैंग्वेज पढ़ाएगा, आज से फ्रेंच नहीं पढ़ाएगा. इसे छोड़कर एम हामिल ने उधर से निकल गया है. और दिस इज़ द स्टोरी इज ऑलरेडी एक्सप्लेनिंग अबाउट द सिंसियरिटी ऑफ द टीचर, लैंग्वेज टीचर हु वाज टॉट देयर इन द फ्रांस. ओके, दिस इज़ द स्टोरी. आप लोगों को बार बार रीडिंग करना है. रीडिंग करने के बाद डाउट क्लियर करने के टाइम पर डाउट क्लियर कर सकता है. आप लोग अच्छे से इसके बारे में स्टडी करके कोई भी डाउट है तो कभी भी पूछ सकता है. अच्छे से पढ़ लीजिए.